up, though? What up, though? This is the Onrea Initiative Podcast. I'm Brian Onrea. This is episode number 6. You feel what I'm saying? It's such a blessing to be able to do this podcast. I've been enjoying myself doing this podcast. And literally, I started last Thursday. Today is Saturday. So it's been a little over a week. And I would say I'm pretty much pleased with the first week. You know what I'm saying? I'm pleased with the response. I'm pleased with all the subscriptions. If you haven't followed this podcast yet on whatever podcast network, podcast platform, give me a follow the podcast. Go to YouTube, please subscribe to the podcast. I need the subscriptions, and comment, on one of the videos. Make sure you like the videos and just engage, man. I'm putting my heart and soul into this podcast. I'm giving y'all everything I could possibly give y'all to make sure that I put that positive energy out there and I put that positive spin on things, you know what I'm saying? And I want to just encourage everybody who's starting something. For me, this is a brand new start. I'm starting something new. And if you out there, you're starting something, I want to encourage you to, as they say in the church, despise not small beginnings. I'm starting out small, but I'm going to grow big. I promise you that. And you might be starting a podcast or starting a business or starting a music career or anything, man, any kind of career in the arts, man. You may be starting an acting career, any kind of career. You may be going to medical school, starting college, whatever you're starting, man. Don't be afraid to start small. Everybody was small when they first started. And don't worry about who's supporting you, who's not supporting you. A lot of times we get hung up on whether our friends or family is supporting us, whether our friends or family is reposting us. The bottom line is, if you're going to grow big, you're not going to grow big from your friends and family anyway. You know what I'm saying? You're going to grow big from finding who your target audience is and catering to that target audience and serving that target audience. It's not going to be because of your family and friends are supporting you. That's not going to be the reason why. Now, if they do support you, that's good. You know what I'm saying? And here's another thing. Most of the time, people are going to wait to support you until they see it's cool to do it. Once they find out it's cool to support you, then they'll support you. You know what I'm saying? And don't get in your feelings about it, man. Because a lot of times we do the same thing with people in our life. Sometimes we're a little bit slow to support our friends, and then we see everybody else supporting them, and then it's like monkey see, monkey do. You know what I'm saying? If anything, let this be a lesson to try to not be that way towards other people. Try to support people that you think are doing good things. Now, also, if your friends and family aren't doing good things, then don't support them. I don't think you should support people automatically. I think that the product or service has to be worthy of your support. You know what I mean? So instead of worrying about whether your friends or family are supporting you, make sure that your endeavor, your podcast, your music, your business is worthy of support. And they'll come along. They'll get with it. But don't get hung up on that. Just find your target audience and serve your target audience. You feel what I'm saying? It's about consistency. If you're starting a new endeavor, be consistent. Again, we're just a little bit over a weekend. This is episode number 6. I'm trying to be consistent. There's a lot going on in the culture. There's a lot going on with music and movies and the news and sports. And it's my job to give you my perspective, give you that positive spin. So I want to be consistent. Be consistent. Find your target audience and give them whatever product or service it is consistently. And I believe we'll all grow, man. You know what I'm saying? Serve the people. Make serving the people be your number one focus, man. Don't worry about who rocking with you, who not rocking with you. As long as God, your creator, whoever you believe in, long as God is rocking with you, man, and you rocking with yourself, can't nothing come against you, man. You feel what I'm saying? Speaking of stuff coming against you or coming against people, it seems like everybody is coming against Katt Williams because Katt Williams has been coming against everybody. The Club Shay Shay podcast, man, went more than viral. Oh, my goodness. Listen, as of today, as of this morning, I was getting off a plane this morning. I was looking at the Club Shay Shay, just the YouTube alone. The YouTube video has got over 22 million views, and it's barely been 3 days. 22 million views. That's outstanding. So first of all, I want to give props to Shannon Sharp. I'm happy to see that. I love to see that. I love to see somebody prospering at what they're doing. And Shannon Sharp has came a long way, man, from being a Hall of Fame tight end, retired from football. And now he's got one of the best podcasts. And at this point, it's going to be in a conversation for number one podcast in the world. Because those are huge, huge numbers. Shout out to him, man. But there's been a lot of blowback on Katt Williams. So first thing I want to do, it's crazy because a lot of people have been responding, but my count, I counted 10 celebrities who have responded publicly to Katt Williams. 10. Number one, Ice Cube. Ice Cube did like a 9-minute Instagram live, and he was giving Katt Williams his props. But one thing he said was, he said that he would never have a rape scene in his movie. So he denied the whole thing about there being a rape scene. You know, Katt Williams said that there was a rape scene and he refused to do it. Ice Cube said it wasn't true. But other than that, he gave Katt Williams his props. Kevin Hart, number two, responded. Now, Kevin Hart, first he tweeted out something. He tweeted out a tweet that said, you know, you got to get that anger about your heart, talking about Katt Williams. And then, in a very brilliant move, in the same tweet, he went on to promote his new movie that's coming out on Netflix in a couple weeks, directed by F. Gary Gray. I forget what it's called, but you can go to his Twitter and see. But that was a brilliant thing, a very brilliant thing to promote his own movie, because this thing is getting a lot of props, so why not, you know, promote your latest project? And it's kind of showing, like, you know what, I'm out here successful. You know, I got all kind of Netflix specials. I mean, Kevin Hart just had that special with Chris Rock. Him and Chris Rock did like a behind the scenes documentary of their tour they did together, their mini tour. So that's two. Number three, Faizon Love came on and basically called Katt Williams names. I think he did an interview with The Art of Dialogue, or he did an Instagram live. I don't know what it was, but I saw Faizon Love basically just called him names, you know, and said he wasn't funny. Obviously, Katt Williams is funny. I mean, heck, the interview with Shannon Sharpe was extremely funny, so that wasn't true. But, and again, the whole name calling thing, I don't like. Even from Katt Williams' side, I don't like the name calling. More on that later. Number four, Cedric the Entertainer. He responded almost immediately on the actual, I think, the Club Shay Shay post, and just basically, you know, kind of denied the attacks on his character and saying it wasn't true, you know. Even though I did say, when I heard the accusation of Cedric stealing one of Katt Williams' jokes and looked at the evidence, it did look like Cedric kind of sold his joke a little bit. But still, though, I think Katt Williams went too hard. Again, more on that later. All right, was it 1, 2, 3, 4? Number five, Tiffany Haddish. You know, she initially made a comment on a Instagram post saying that, you know, I got Katt Williams' number, and, you know, I should have texted him, making some kind of joke. But then she went on her stand-up. She did a stand-up. Somebody recorded her at a comedy club, just basically saying that it wasn't true that she didn't perform at a certain club. I think it was a Comedy Store. Whatever it was, she was saying that Katt Williams didn't tell the truth about her performing at certain clubs. So she spoke out. Gary Owen. You know, Gary Owen caught a mention, and basically Katt Williams said something to the effect that Gary Owen didn't blow up yet because he didn't sell his soul or something like that. And Gary Owen tweeted, like, I don't know if I should be offended or not. And most of the people agreed that Katt Williams was kind of giving Gary Owen a compliment, saying he didn't sell his soul. But also, it was a backhanded compliment, because he was also kind of insinuating that his career wasn't that successful. So he responded. Ricky Smiley. Now, Ricky Smiley was my favorite response out of all, because Ricky Smiley kept it positive. He just basically said that as it relates to the accusation of him saying that he was supposed to be Money Mike first, he said that he auditioned for Money Mike. And by the way, I still didn't listen to Ricky Smiley's interview with Shannon Sharpe. I didn't get to it yet. But he said that on his radio show, or wherever, or some platform, I heard him say that he auditioned for Money Mike, left LA, came back to LA, and they told him, no, you're going to be this different character. So according to him, he still maintains that he auditioned for Money Mike first. I don't know, man. It's old news, man. You know what I'm saying? And he denied that he had any kind of contract that he had to wear a dress. He denied that too. Ludacris. You know, Ludacris was mentioned about being in the Illuminati. I think something about his wife. I don't know. But Ludacris, he didn't really deny anything, but he just put out a freestyle, basically. A dope freestyle, by the way. Ludacris is one of the best rappers ever, too, by the way. Give Ludacris his props. The boy vicious with the pen. But he did a dope freestyle kind of addressing it. Didn't say much, but he just put a dope freestyle out. Brandon T. Jackson. Shout out to Brandon T. Jackson from Detroit, man. Funny fact about Brandon T. Jackson. Brandon T. Jackson actually, he was doing Christian comedy. I was doing Christian rap. We did a show together way back in the day, man, in Detroit. But shout out to Brandon T. Jackson. He tweeted that he never did anything strange for a piece of change. and God basically put him where he is today. But there was also some footage that reappeared of him on an interview saying that he regrets wearing the dress. And one of the things that Katt Williams said was he was telling Brandon T. Jackson not to wear a dress. And Brandon T. Jackson said in this old interview that he regrets wearing a dress, and that Katt Williams told him not to do it. So he kind of confirmed something, So his response, I don't know if it was the best response or not. And then lastly, number 10, Joe Rogan. Because, Katt Williams mentioned Joe Rogan. He tweeted, he mentioned something to the effect about other comedians getting on Joe Rogan's podcast and disrespecting him or something, I don't know. But Joe Rogan, which I can say, I listen to Joe Rogan podcast. If you saw my video about my favorite podcast of 2023, Joe Rogan was on that list. So I listen to Joe Rogan podcast a lot. And Joe Rogan, according to my memory, always spoke of Katt Williams in a very reverential way. Saying he was one of his favorite comedians. So shout out to him. And then he said that in the tweet that he loves Katt Williams and Katt Williams is welcome to come on his show at any time. So we'll see what happens with that, man. My takeaways from the whole Katt Williams thing is that Katt Williams basically went too hard, man. He went too hard and he went too harsh. Calling names. He called Cedric the Entertainer a walrus. He said that Earthquake was illiterate. That stuff is below the belt, man. It's nothing wrong with speaking the truth in love. That's what the Bible says. Speak the truth in love. I think the Bible says that. I don't know if the Bible says that or not, but it's a good saying. Speak the truth in love. Hey, man, I fact check myself, you feel me? But and then he said something what I didn't like about Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley lost a child, I think a year or two ago. He's still grieving. And he said, Katt Williams said something to the effect of, don't come up here while you grieving to say this. Don't even mention my child, bro, my dead child. Rest in peace to Ricky Smiley's child. But he mentioned that, that he was grieving a child. That's below the belt, bro. Don't even mention the fact that I am grieving. And I'm sure Katt Williams would say he didn't mean no disrespect by it, but it was disrespectful. So I think Katt Williams went too hard, man. I think that you should set the record straight. You should clear your name. You should set the facts straight. But don't be disrespectful in doing so. Don't talk about people, their weight and them being illiterate and just, Again, the interview was wonderful. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. It was like a comedy special. But I think he went below the belt in some areas, man. So that's my takeaway. But shout out to everybody. Shout out to all 10 of those people that responded to Katt Williams. Shout out to Katt Williams. I looked on the Ticketmaster app. He in the middle of a tour. I think it's called the Dark Matter Tour. And he got dates all over the country. So I know that tour about to really sell out now. I mean, Katt Williams already did well anyway before this tour. But now, like, this podcast came out, his tour is going to do well. And I encourage y'all to go see him. I'm going to try to go see him because I said, his last two specials weren't funny, but he's one of my favorite comedians of all time. So I think I'm going to go pull up on Katt Williams and see his stand-up. You know what I'm saying? See what he's talking about, man. Shout out to Katt Williams, man. Shout out to Club Shay Shay. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. Salute you, man. As somebody that's starting a podcast, man, I salute the greats. I salute the ones that's doing it big. I'm not a hater. I'm a congratulator. So congratulate Shannon Sharp, and I can only hope to walk in those footsteps and do 22 million one day on a YouTube video. You feel me? Shout out to him, man. You know what I'm saying? Onrea Initiative Podcast. Let's go. So yeah, man, shout out to Shannon Sharp. Shout out to Club Shay Shay. Shout out to all that, man. Real quick, man, let's go over a little bit of sports, man. What's up with the Lakers, the LA Lakers? The Lakers won that the very first in-season tournament. And I remember, man, when they won that tournament, I said publicly, why they celebrating so hard? I think they had champagne, they had cigars and all that. And I'm like, bruh, it's a cool accomplishment. It's fun, but it ain't nowhere near the equivalent of a championship. Then they went to hang up a banner in the rafters for it. In the rafters, a banner for it. An in-season tournament? Come on, man. Needless to say, they've been 3-9 since the in-season tournament. One of the worst records in the league. You know what I'm saying? Only 2 more games than the Pistons won. The Pistons and the Hornets. Only the Pistons and the Hornets have been worse teams since the in-season tournament. And now they're 2 games under the 500. Darvin Ham is rumored to have his job in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what's going on with the Lakers, man, but they got to get it together, man. That's just That's just not good, man. Shout out to the NBA. The Boston Celtics, man, they ain't lost the game at home yet. That's an incredible story. I know my Pistons, man, we almost beat the Celtics a couple weeks ago, and I was so mad. I think it was last week. I was so mad because he was up by 20 points. It was last week. It was on the 28th. Yeah, it was on the 28th, the day I started this podcast. We were up by 20 points on the Celtics, and I believe it was in Boston, and we lost the game in overtime. But shout out to the Celtics, man. They are undefeated at home. You know, that's a big thing because come playoff time, you know, they're going to want that home court advantage. So shout out to them, man. Again, I'm nervously waiting this Michigan-Washington championship game. Go Blue. I'm rooting for Michigan. Shout out to all y'all that been supporting my content. I made a whole video off of the last podcast about how Michigan was getting too cocky. I still think we're too cocky. We got to calm down. The media, lay off of them. You know what I'm saying? Don't hype them up too much. Why don't y'all hype up Washington for a change? Do that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's my sports takes, man. New music. Not a lot of new music out, but I'm still bumping that Game Big Hit album. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. That album's so dope. If you haven't heard the Game Big Hit album, man, Paisley Dreams, go check that out once again. I did a whole segment on it. I think in one of my other episodes, I took that segment, made a whole video about it where I went over the album. So check out that album review, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all in my bio here, man. But shout out to them. But one thing that did come out, Kash Doll. Shout out to my fellow Detroiter, Kash Doll. Kash Doll had a dope mixtape last year. And I think Kash Doll has really been improving herself lyrically from a lyrical standpoint. But she got a song called Power, right? A single. I don't know if it's the first single off her new album or if it's a standalone single, but it's a dope record. She sampled the Kanye West Power. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to S1, you know what I'm saying? The homie produced that song. I'm sure S1 hopefully will get some publishing off this single because they sampled the song Power. But it's a dope record. It's a dope record, man. She flowing. Nice album cover, nice artwork. Dope little record, man. She got a nice little flow in there. So check that single out. But other than that, there's not really any new music out, you know what I'm saying, other than that. But we got a whole lot for y'all today. Just wanted to jump on and give a couple updates, man. This will be the conclusion of episode 6 of the Onrea Initiative podcast. Much love to y'all, man. Stay safe. Keep chasing your dreams. Take initiative to be that person you want to be, man, and spread some love. Let's go.